Can you blame America for icing them out?
Multiple sources have told Page Six that the royal family will travel to the US.
The royal family is gearing up for a trip to the US to celebrate America's 250th birthday.
As the geopolitical calendar turns toward 2026, the United States and the United Kingdom are preparing for a commemoration of profound historical significance, the semiquincentennial, or the 250th anniversary, of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. This milestone, marking a quarter millennium of American sovereignty, serves not only as a celebration of national identity, but as a critical reaffirmation of the special relationship between the two powers. However, beneath the surface of state dinners and diplomatic pageantry lies a complex strategic maneuver by the House of Windsor, a campaign designed to project continuity, stability, and soft power while decisively excising the non-working branch of the family, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. The year 2026 represents a singular opportunity for the British monarchy to reassert its relevance on the global stage. Following the transition from the Elizabethan era to the Carolingian age, King Charles III faces the imperative of cementing his legacy as a modernizing yet traditional monarch. The 250th anniversary festivities offer a platform to demonstrate the durability of the crown's diplomatic utility. The invitation extended to King Charles III and Queen Camilla for a state visit to Washington, D.C., tentatively scheduled for April 2026, underscores the high stakes of this engagement. This visit is not merely ceremonial, it is a diplomatic instrument intended to strengthen bilateral ties in an era of global instability. The overarching theme for the royal family's engagement in 2026 is unity and heritage. The narrative being crafted by Buckingham Palace and the Foreign Office focuses on the shared history, legal traditions, and cultural values that bind the UK and the US. In this context, the presence of the monarch in the American capital serves as a living symbol of reconciliation, a powerful visual representation of how a former colonial adversary has evolved into a steadfast ally. Complementing the monarch's visit, the Prince and Princess of Wales, William and Kate, are anticipated to undertake a high-profile tour in July 2026, coinciding with the Independence Day celebrations. This dual-pronged approach, the King handling the formal statecraft in Washington and the Wales engaging with the broader public and cultural sphere, represents a sophisticated deployment of royal soft power. Prince William's involvement is further amplified by the momentum of his Earthshot Prize, which has been expanding its footprint in the Americas, and the cultural backdrop of the 2026 FIFA World Cup hosted in North America. The strategic clarity of the 2026 royal itinerary is defined as much by who is absent as by who is present. Multiple sources confirm a total shutout of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle from the official celebrations. This exclusion is not merely a byproduct of familial estrangement, but a calculated diplomatic protocol. Invitations for state-level events are extended at the behest of the government to working royals who represent the crown. Since stepping back from official duties in 2020, the Sussexes have occupied a nebulous position, holding titles but lacking the portfolio to represent the nation. The palace's stance for 2026 solidifies the boundary between the institution and the individuals. The decision to exclude the Sussexes from the guest list for America's 250th birthday bash is a definitive signal that the half-in, half-out model proposed by the couple during the Megxit negotiations remains firmly rejected. The diplomatic machinery requires unambiguous representation. The presence of the Sussexes, with their history of media grievances and commercial entanglements, is viewed as a distraction that would compromise the messaging of the state visit. The media narrative surrounding the 2026 visit has crystallized around the concept of a total shutout. This framing highlights the widening chasm between the working royals and the Sussexes. While King Charles and Prince William are positioned as statesmen engaging with world leaders and celebrating historic milestones, Harry and Meghan are relegated to the periphery, their relevance tethered to their commercial ventures rather than their royal heritage. This shutout is compounded by reports that the king is unlikely to make any personal detours to visit his son in Montecito. The logistical realities of a state visit, characterized by tight security and packed schedules, provide a convenient diplomatic cover for avoiding an awkward reunion. Royal experts note that any such meeting would steal attention from the visit's purpose, a risk the palace is unwilling to take. The focus remains strictly on the official schedule, ensuring that the diplomatic priorities of the UK government are not overshadowed by the soap opera of royal family dynamics. The exclusion of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex from the 2026 celebrations is the culmination of a systematic distancing strategy employed by the palace. This strategy, often described as grey rocking, involves minimizing engagement and denying the Sussexes the oxygen of royal proximity. The mechanics of this shutout operate on multiple levels: diplomatic, interpersonal, and institutional. The foundational justification for the exclusion lies in the definition of a working royal. When Harry and Meghan stepped back in 2020, they relinquished their official roles and the funding that accompanied them. In the eyes of the Palace Protocol Office, this change in status renders them ineligible for official state visits. The 250th anniversary is a state event, not a family gathering. Invitations are issued to representatives of the British state, a role the Sussexes no longer fulfill. This adherence to protocol allows the palace to frame the exclusion as a matter of policy rather than personal animus. It provides a bureaucratic shield against accusations of pettiness. By strictly enforcing the working royal rule, the King and Prince William can maintain the moral high ground, asserting that they are simply following established norms. This approach also neutralizes the Sussexes' ability to claim victimhood, as the criteria for inclusion are objective and self-selected by the couple's decision to leave. The interpersonal dimension of the shutout is dominated by the profound estrangement between Prince William and Prince Harry. Reports indicate that the brothers have had no meaningful contact for over 2 years. One out with the breach of trust caused by the Sussexes' media interventions, specifically the Oprah interview, the Netflix documentary, and Harry's memoir Spare, is described as absolute. For Prince William, the 2026 visit is an opportunity to project strength and stability as the heir to the throne. The presence of his brother, with whom he is engaged in a Cold War, would be an intolerable distraction. Sources suggest that William has accelerated the process of moving on from the relationship, focusing entirely on his duties and his own family. The Bring Harry Back campaign, occasionally floated by optimistic royal commentators, finds no purchase within the Wales household. The sentiment is that the Sussex brand is worthless to the future of the monarchy and potentially toxic to its reputation. The ice out extends to social circles as well. Mutual friends and former allies have been forced to choose sides, with many gravitating toward the future king. This social isolation reinforces the diplomatic exclusion, leaving the Sussexes without a bridge back to the royal fold. The 2026 visit will serve as a visual confirmation of this reality. William and Kate at the center of American adulation, while Harry and Meghan remain in Montecito, physically close but institutionally distant. King Charles III's approach to the estrangement is characterized by a blend of paternal affection and ruthless pragmatism. While sources claim the king still loves his son and wishes to see his grandchildren, he is unwilling to compromise the dignity of the crown. The soft power strategy involves maintaining a dignified silence in the face of Sussex provocations while aggressively promoting the work of the active royals. By focusing on high-level diplomacy, such as the state visit to Washington, the king effectively shrinks the Sussexes' stature. They are no longer treated as rival power centers but as irrelevant distractions. The palace has successfully compartmentalized the Harry problem, treating it as a private family matter that does not impinge on the operations of the state. This separation allows the monarchy to function unimpeded, even as the tabloids continue to churn out stories about the rift. The 2026 celebrations will test this strategy. The media will undoubtedly look for cracks in the facade, for any sign of acknowledgement or snub. The palace's discipline in adhering to the shutout protocol will be crucial in controlling the narrative. If successful, the visit will demonstrate that the monarchy is bigger than any individual member, and that it can thrive even without the star power that the Sussexes once promised. While the diplomatic shutout represents a loss of status, the legal battle surrounding Prince Harry's U.S. visa represents a potential existential threat to his life in America. The controversy, centered on his admissions of past drug use, has evolved into a proxy war involving conservative think tanks, the Department of Homeland Security (HS), and the polarized landscape of American politics. The genesis of the legal challenge lies in Prince Harry's own words. In his 2023 memoir Spare, the Duke provided detailed accounts of his past drug use, including cocaine, marijuana, and psychedelic mushrooms. He described using cocaine as a teenager to feel different, and credited marijuana and psychedelics with helping him process trauma. While these admissions were intended to foster a narrative of vulnerability and healing, they inadvertently created a legal vulnerability. Under United States immigration law, specifically the Immigration and Nationality Act, INA, an admission of a controlled substance violation can render a foreign national inadmissible. Visa applicants are required to disclose past drug use on their forms. If an applicant admits to drug use that would constitute a violation of U.S. law, they may be denied entry unless they qualify for a waiver. Conversely, if an applicant fails to disclose such use when asked, they may be found to have committed visa fraud, which is a deportable offense. The Heritage Foundation, a prominent conservative think tank in Washington, D.C., seized upon these admissions to launch a legal challenge against the DHS. Filing a lawsuit under the Freedom of Information Act, FOIA, Heritage sought the release of Prince Harry's immigration records. Their argument is twofold. First, that there is a compelling public interest in knowing whether the prince was given preferential treatment by the Biden administration, and second, to determine whether he lied on his visa application. The foundation argues that if Harry disclosed his drug use, he should have been inadmissible absent a waiver, the details of which should be public. If he did not disclose it, he may have lied to federal officials. The lawsuit accuses the DHS of stonewalling and suggests that the celebrity elite are held to a different standard than ordinary immigrants. The legal proceedings have been dramatic. In September 2024, U.S. District Judge Carl Nichols initially ruled in favor of the DHS, stating that the public does not have a strong interest in disclosure that outweighs Prince Harry's privacy rights. The judge accepted the government's argument that visa records are inherently private and that Harry's public admissions in a book did not waive his right to privacy regarding his specific immigration filings. However, the case did not end there. In a surprising turn of events in late 2025, Judge Nichols agreed to reopen the case. This decision followed a motion by the Heritage Foundation arguing that the court had not seen all relevant declarations from the DHS or that the government's private explanations were insufficient. The judge ordered a new hearing for February 2025, signaling a willingness to reconsider the balance between privacy and public interest. Judge Nichols expressed a desire for maximum disclosure as long as it doesn't violate privacy, suggesting that redacted versions of the documents or the DHS's internal reasoning might be released. For Prince Harry, the prospect of his visa application, or at least the government's handling of it, becoming public is a source of significant anxiety. It keeps the story in the headlines and maintains a cloud of uncertainty over his residency status. The legal battle is inextricably linked to the political climate. The Heritage Foundation's aggressive pursuit of the case aligns with a broader conservative critique of the Biden administration's immigration policies. The return of Donald Trump to the political foreground, often referred to as the Trump 2.0 era in this context, has escalated the threat. Donald Trump has made his disdain for the Sussexes clear. In interviews, he has stated that he wouldn't protect Harry and that the prince would be on his own if it were up to him. He has criticized the Biden administration for being too gracious to the couple. Niall Gardner, the director of Heritage's Margaret Thatcher Center for Freedom, has publicly urged the Trump administration to release the records and enforce the law rigorously. The implication is stark. If the records reveal a discrepancy, a Trump-led administration could theoretically move to revoke Harry's visa or initiate deportation proceedings. While such an action would be unprecedented for a figure of Harry's diplomatic stature, the political symbolism would be potent. It serves as a reminder that the Sussexes' security in America is not guaranteed and is subject to the whims of the political winds. While the legal battles threaten their residency, the Sussexes' commercial empire has faced a crisis of competence and identity. The year 2025 was intended to be the year of their great rebranding, launching a lifestyle empire that would rival Martha Stewart or Goop. Instead, it became a case study in strategic failure, characterized by trademark blunders, confusing pivots, and ridicule from industry experts. In early 2024, Meghan Markle soft-launched American Riviera Orchard, a lifestyle brand poised to sell everything from artisanal jams to luxury linens. The name was a nod to Santa Barbara, often called the American Riviera. However, the launch was marred by a fundamental oversight in trademark law. The United States Patent and Trademark Office, USPTO, refused the trademark application on the grounds that the name was primarily geographically descriptive. Under the Lanham Act, trademarks that describe a geographic location cannot be registered without proof of secondary meaning, evidence that consumers associate the term exclusively with the brand rather than the place. The addition of the word orchard was deemed insufficient to overcome this hurdle. Compounding the problem, the application faced corporate opposition. The retailer Harry and David, famous for its Royal Riviera pears, filed a protest, arguing that American Riviera Orchard was confusingly similar to their established trademark. The USPTO also flagged technical errors in the filing, noting that the descriptions of goods were too broad and spanned multiple categories improperly. This regulatory rejection was a humiliation for a brand that positioned itself as ultra-premium and detail-oriented. Branding experts criticized the team for failing to conduct basic due diligence. Establishing brand identity is one of the earliest and most important hurdles, noted one expert. and the failure to clear the name before the global announcement suggested a lack of professional rigor. Faced with the collapse of the American Riviera identity, Meghan executed a hasty rebrand in late 2025. The new name, As Ever, was drawn from her sign-off on her defunct blog, The Tig. Reports indicate that this name had been quietly trademarked in 2022, perhaps as a backup plan. The transition to As Ever was met with skepticism. Critics labeled it cringeworthy and a sign of failure or bad judgment. The name itself was seen by some as vague and lacking the aspirational punch of the previous attempt. Furthermore, the new brand immediately ran into its own legal issues. The logo, featuring a palm tree and hummingbirds, drew the ire of the mayor of Porreres, Mallorca. The mayor claimed the design was practically identical to the town's historic coat of arms and threatened to ask Meghan to remove it. Commercially, the brand's rollout has been underwhelming. A collaboration with Soho House, the private members club where Harry and Meghan had their first date, was criticized as lame and a cop-out. The pop-up shop within Soho Home in West Hollywood was seen as relying on personal connections rather than building an independent retail presence. Social media reaction was harsh, with critics questioning why a global Duchess was reduced to renting shelf space in a club gift shop. The limited product drops, jars of jam sent to celebrity friends, generated initial buzz but failed to translate into a sustainable business model. The authenticity gap widened as the brand's offerings felt disconnected from the economic reality of the average consumer, fueling the perception of the Sussexes as out-of-touch elites. If the lifestyle brand was a stumble, the Sussexes' media ventures, the engine of their financial independence, threatened to stall completely. The collapse of the Spotify deal in 2023 cast a long shadow over 2024 and 2025, with the label grifters sticking to the couple and coloring the reception of their Netflix output. The termination of the $20 million Spotify deal was accompanied by a blistering critique from executive Bill Simmons, who publicly called Harry and Meghan fucking grifters. Simmons mocked their lack of productivity and their reliance on royal complaints for relevance. "I have got to get drunk one night and tell the story of the Zoom I had with Harry to try and help him with a podcast idea," Simmons said, cementing the narrative that the couple were idea poor and difficult to work with. This grifter label, implying that they take money without delivering value, has proven impossible to shake. It framed the narrative for their remaining major partnership, the $100 million deal with Netflix. Meghan Markle's cooking and lifestyle series, With Love, Meghan, premiered its second season in August 2025. The critical reception was brutal. The show received a Rotten Tomatoes critic score of just 20% with an audience score of 27%. Reviewers eviscerated the program. The Times called it a series in search of a meaning, fronted by a woman in need of some cash. The Guardian described it as painfully contrived. The criticism focused on the show's artificiality, filmed in a rented house rather than Meghan's own kitchen, featuring random celebrity guests and offering tips that felt performative rather than practical. It was described as a Montecito ego trip, a showcase of privilege that offered nothing of substance to the viewer. The nadir of the Netflix partnership may have been the With Love, Meghan holiday celebration. Originally scheduled for January 2025, the release was delayed to March 4, 2025, due to the devastating wildfires in Los Angeles. While the delay was framed as a sensitivity measure, it also highlighted the disconnect between Meghan's content and the real world. A show about lavish holiday hosting would have been jarringly tone-deaf while locals were losing their homes. When the special finally aired, it was mocked for its awkwardness. One scene, in which Meghan explains the British tradition of Christmas crackers to an American guest, was criticized for dragging the royal family into a show that was supposed to be about her independent life. Another scene featured a brief cameo by Prince Harry, who was treated like a drop-in visitor in his own rented home, leading to jokes about the couple's chemistry. Critics labeled the special a fever dream and unfathomable. The Telegraph noted that Meghan tries way too hard, while The Independent called it white noise to dull the senses. The overarching sentiment was that the content was beige, visually pleasant but empty of soul or genuine emotion. As their commercial star waned, so too did their social standing. The Sussexes' arrival in California was initially greeted with open arms by Hollywood's elite, but by 2026, a distinct chill had set in, a phenomenon known as the Hollywood freeze. Key figures who once supported the couple have reportedly distanced themselves. George and Amal Clooney, who attended the royal wedding and hosted the couple at Lake Como, have drifted away. Reports suggest the Clooneys are now more linked to King Charles, attending Prince's trust events in London and emphasizing their loyalty to the monarch. Similarly, the relationship with David and Victoria Beckham has reportedly fractured beyond repair. The Beckhams were allegedly furious after being accused by the Sussexes of leaking stories to the press. This accusation, made during a tense phone call, led to a severance of ties. The loss of the Beckhams, a power couple who successfully navigated the worlds of sports, fashion, and celebrity, was a significant blow to the Sussexes' social credibility. The distancing is driven by a perception that the Sussex brand is toxic. A-listers are wary of the drama and chaos that seems to follow the couple. The constant feuding with the royal family, the lawsuits, and the polarizing media coverage make association with them a liability. Specific incidents have exacerbated this. The green gown gate rumor, alleging that Meghan kept a $1,700 dress from a photo shoot without permission, circulated widely, damaging her reputation for professionalism. Although her team denied it, the story fed into the narrative of entitlement. Another embarrassment occurred at Kris Jenner's 70th birthday party. The Sussexes attended the bash, hosted by Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez, but reportedly requested that photos of them be removed from social media. This attempt to control the narrative backfired, making them appear difficult and ungrateful. PR experts noted that such behavior alienates hosts and guests alike, leading to fewer invitations. Kinsey Schofield, a royal commentator, summarized the sentiment by calling the couple unapologetically tacky and pathetic. The disaster tourist label, applied after Meghan's appearance at a wildfire support center, further cemented the view that their public appearances are performative rather than genuine. In response to these mounting challenges, the Sussexes adopted a new strategy in late 2025: separate lives. Previously joined at the hip in their public appearances, Harry and Meghan began to pursue distinct independent professional paths. Prince Harry undertook a series of high-profile solo trips. He traveled to New York City for Climate Week, returned to the UK for the Wellchild Awards, and visited Lesotho and South Africa for his charity, Senta Bailey. During these trips, Harry appeared revitalized. Observers noted he was smiling ear to ear and seemed to regain the charisma that had made him one of the most popular royals. His focus on philanthropy, veterans, children, HIV/AIDS reminded the public of his strengths. Meghan, meanwhile, focused on her commercial ventures in Hollywood, attending red carpet events and launching her brand. This twin-track approach was explained by sources as a professional necessity. Harry's brand worked best with humanitarian causes, while Meghan's aligned with lifestyle and entertainment. However, the physical and professional distance fueled intense speculation about the state of their marriage. Media outlets began using terms like creative divorce and trial separation. A living Nostradamus, the Brazilian psychic Athos Salome, even predicted a deepening of this separation in 2026. Sources close to the couple denied a split, insisting they were simply regrouping after a difficult year. Yet insiders also reported that Harry was homesick and extremely upset by the idea of being permanently cut off from the UK, while Meghan had no desire to return. This divergence in long-term goals, Harry looking back to Britain, Meghan rooted in California, created a structural tension in their partnership. The separate lives narrative has become the dominant lens through which their actions are viewed. Whether a strategic pivot or a precursor to a legal split, the result is the same. The Sussex power couple brand, which relied on their unity against the world, has been dismantled. As the 2026 semi-quincentennial approaches, the landscape has shifted decisively in favor of the House of Windsor. The British monarchy has executed a successful war of attrition. By maintaining a dignified silence and adhering to strict diplomatic protocols, they have effectively marginalized the Sussexes. The total shutout from the 2026 celebrations is the final confirmation of this new reality. King Charles III and Prince William will stand on the world stage in Washington and across America, projecting a unified modern monarchy. They will be the face of the special relationship, celebrating history and looking to the future. In contrast, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle find themselves isolated. Their commercial ventures are floundering. Their legal status is precarious. Their social circle has shrunk, and they are pursuing separate paths in a bid to salvage their individual reputations. The rebel royal narrative has run its course, replaced by the reality of two celebrities struggling to maintain relevance in a world that is moving on. The year 2026 will not be the year of the Sussexes' return. It will be the year the door was firmly closed. The total shutout is complete.